This video is going to have a brief overview of each of the 9 Enneagram types based on their primary polarity. So let's jump right in. We'll start with type 1. Their polarity is good versus bad or right versus wrong. Type 1s tend to have a more black and white mindset, not really seeing the nuances in ways because they're always searching for the correct way to do things. They can tend to be perfectionists in the areas that they find important and seek to always do things to a high standard. So they hold themselves to a high standard. They also hold other people to a high standard. The type 2's polarity is selfless versus selfish. So the type 2s are often seen as the helpful Enneagram type, and they really want to be the perfect partner for whoever in whatever relationships they deem important, not only romantic, but it could be work or anywhere really. And so they really give a lot from themselves. In return, they kind of just desire the emotional gratitude and appreciation for what they do. The type 3's polarity is best versus worst, or winner versus loser. The type 3s are very driven to be at the top of whatever fields or disciplines they choose to pursue. They want to be the best at whatever they're doing. So you can see how this type might be very high achieving, but perhaps not always so, because being the best can be defined in different ways, and everyone defines that themselves. The type 4 polarity is special versus ordinary. So the 4s are looking for their uniqueness and their unique place in the world and what sets them apart. And this can be in obvious ways, and you'll see a lot of creative types could be type 4s, but it can also be much more subtle or secretive even in how they consider themselves unique. The type 5's primary polarity is understanding versus ignorance. So they want to avoid a lack of understanding in the areas they deem important, and so type 5s will spend a lot of time studying the certain disciplines or the things they find interesting or important and becoming experts, but they tend not to have a more difficult time taking that knowledge and using it in the world because they realize that there's so much more to learn, and they're very keen on having this full understanding before acting on it. The type 6 polarity is support versus losing support. So the 6s are very keyed into who's on their side, who's supporting them, with us or against us kind of mentality, and figuring out who their real support system is. And this can often be people, but it could also be an ideology, a religion, a career, perhaps even. But they need to find where their polarity is searching for support and understanding what is supporting them and what isn't. The type 7's polarity is happiness versus unhappy, or fun versus boredom. So type 7s don't want to be bored. They don't want to be in the present moment and feel that they're missing something or that their life experience isn't rich. So this can lead to a lot of jumping from one thing to another. Could be physically in the form of travel or mentally in different ways, learning things, reading books, conversations, people. So that's the primary characteristic born out of the polarity for the 7s. And for the 8s, we have strong versus weak is the polarity. So the 8s are very focused on being strong and strength, and so they'll be very forward and direct, and don't usually shy away from expressing anger even, and being blunt with what they believe and their truth. And they expect others to do the same because they expect that others should be strong as they are. And so that's built from this polarity of strong versus weak. And then finally, the type 9's polarity is peaceful versus disturbing the peace. So nines are very keenly aware of the peace and harmony of a situation, and they don't want to disturb that. So they'll often go with the flow or fit into a situation in a certain way or hold a certain energy to try to calm down any conflicts or any disturbance to the peace that they might perceive. So that was a brief overview of the 9 polarities of the different types of the Enneagram.